Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for our post-match review of the game that we just saw between the Springboks and the All Blacks. As you can hear, my voice is almost gone. What a game that we have just witnessed for ourselves. Very close, going right down to the wire. But I hope you are all doing well and hope you all enjoyed that game as well. But yeah, at this stage, we are going to be talking through all of the events that did take place in this game and kind of what we thought of everything, and also who we thought were the standouts for these players. But as you can see here, 31 points for the Springboks in this game, 29 for the All Blacks. It was a last-minute last-minute conversion from Elton Yankees for the penalty that they were able to get the win there, the Springboks. So this game separated by the 2 points, just like the first match that we saw between the two sides as well, 31 points to the 21. This is the 29. But yeah, my brain at the moment is well and truly scrambled. It was just back and forth throughout the whole later stages of that game. The last 10 minutes was stressful and a half, and I was sitting in terms of that impartial way. You guys in the chat, you were going both of your sides, hoping that they were going to be able to get that final point that could have won them the game, because we did see just moment after moment just kept on rotating in terms of that momentum. But nonetheless, we will look through who the try scorers were in this match. Great start to the match. Damien Dealende scoring in the 5th minute with a nice little flick out pass from Lukanyuam as well. Little bit fancy there. And then Makazole Mapimpi scoring early on in the second half. Then the 3 try scorers all in the first half for the All Blacks. Sevu Reece, Ardie Savia, and then also Brad Weber, which that one was actually off a line-out steal, which was something that was very impressive from the All Blacks in that regard. And we have got their match ratings for AB's players, says Christian. Right, I feel like straight off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of who played the best for the All Blacks. And I would say someone along the lines of Ardie Savia. He did pretty well overall. Also, Brad Weber stepped up in that number 9 jersey, I thought. And then maybe Geordie Barrett still quite up there in that regard, because of the fact that he was just able to continue taking those high balls. And they were going to them a little bit, but not as much in this game. And it was great to see that running game of rugby from the Springboks. As we see some stats here about this match as well, they actually had more meters carried than the All Blacks in this one. They were playing an aggressive, just running rugby kind of style. Also having a few kicks in there as well. We have got the Kieran emojis from Katie in the chat as well. But yeah, 2 tries for the Springboks, 3 for the All Blacks. Then looking at the meters carried as well, very similar in that regard. 378 meters carried and then 312 meters carried for the All Blacks. Defenders beaten 20 for the All Blacks and 7 clean breaks to the 12 of the Springboks, and 12 defenders, 2 clean breaks there as well. Missed tackles. The Springboks, they hardly missed a tackle in that second half. 109 tackles made, 20 missed tackles in total, but I believe they had about 13 or so of those in just the first half. 120 tackles made by the All Blacks, and then also we have got the 12 missed tackles for the All Blacks in that regard. But a number that stands out, 8 turnovers, 1 for the Springboks. In the breakdown, they were phenomenal. Sia Khaleesi is a player who I need to give a big props to straight away, because he was getting in there and he was just wrestling the All Blacks if he needed to be able to try and get that counter-attacking kind of style going for the Springboks. And it was working, because they were able to put the pressure on in that breakdown, and it did create the opportunities that we did see for them a little bit later on in the match as well. But what I will do quickly, will make my own quick scoreboard. 31 points for the Springboks and 29 for the All Blacks. So that means that the end standings for the Rugby Championship, it is the All Blacks. They have been able to win the Rugby Championship, 5 wins and the 1 loss, which was this last one of the series. And also Australia finishing on second for 18 points it was. And then in third, it is going to be the Springboks, and they are sitting on 15. But they have got a little bit of that momentum now heading into the Northern Hemisphere, where they will take on Wales. Also, it will be England is another big game, and Scotland as well. Well, that was an insane 2021 Rugby Championship season. Lots of great and memorable moments. Only regret is that Los Pumas finished with no points on the table. Heartbreaking, given the effort it was from Sebastian. Yeah, I feel bad for the Pumas, but they did slowly keep on improving. It's just the problem of that first game up against any opponent, they struggled. The second game, they were still struggling, but they fought back a little bit more. Like, they got 17 points up against the Wallabies in that matchup, which seemed very impressive the way that it was going at halftime. Sometimes the referees just need to let the players decide who wins the game as well, says Kristen. And also we have got there, thanks for the way you put the rugby match across. Just love it as well. From Cape Town, South Africa, says Rashad. And thank you very much, mate. Hopefully you guys did all enjoy that commentary. I know at the end of the match, we had people on the edges of their seats because it just kept on going back and forth. I believe there were about 3 lead changes in the last 10 minutes of that game, and you can't ask for much more in a final match of the Rugby Championship. Our line out was atrocious as well, says Lax Axel. Yeah, unfortunately, I actually explained it on the live stream as well. I said the first half It was that the All Blacks were doing well contesting the line out, but then the penalties were going against the Springboks. No, I think it was the other way around, actually. Sorry, that it was the case of the All Blacks. They were contesting well in the first half, and then in the second one, it was the case of the Springboks contesting well at line out time. And then in the first half, the penalties were going against the All Blacks, and then it switched in that second half, and they started going up against the penalties for the All Blacks, or sorry, for the Springboks as well. That was a sentence and a half. I hope you are well. As I says 11JC, we are doing very well, mate, and hope you did enjoy that match as well. We are going to lose to the USA in 3 weeks as well, says Dwayne and Gigi from South Africa, says Trenton, and also told you some Rugby World Cup, some World Cup rugby in the second half. It was just amazing and nerve-wracking as well, says Nakado. Yeah, they played very well in that second half, the Springboks, and also in the first half as well, being physical in those breakdowns. 14 penalties against the All Blacks, 12 against the Springboks. No yellow cards or anything in this one, though, which is very impressive indeed. And I told everyone on my stream pre-game to bet on South Africa at $6.50 odds. People were loving it post-game as well, says BKR Sport, and $6.50 odds was ridiculous. I believe in New Zealand, even though it is, of course, the All Blacks, I think the highest that they got to pre-match was about $3.20. So I guess they were possibly saying that they were a bit more of an underdog there in Australia. And great rugby, proud supporter of the best sport in the world as well, says Lex Axel. And also we have got the I know our scrum was in trouble when Big Carl was missing. Of course, they went with Bauer, and also in the starting lineup, it was Joe Moody. And something that was massive from the Springboks was those big pushes in the scrum. They were able to get the All Blacks going backwards. There was one moment where Ardie Savia just managed to grab that one before it turned into the penalty going the way of the Springboks. But like I mentioned, 26 penalties between the two sides as well. We're going to be looking through some player stats because there were some players who were standouts throughout this match as well. And looking through, first of all, at the South Africans, the first try of the match scored by Damian Dialende, 47 metres carried. He actually had 8 carries in this game as well. And that is something that is actually a very huge number for himself because he hasn't really touched the ball more than, I believe, 3 or 4 times in the past matches for the Springboks. Quacker Smith, 43 metres carried, 7 carries in that regard as well. But we saw the kicking game still coming through from the Springboks, but we got to see that attacking rugby as well with the running, the little flick out the backs as well. That beautiful one from Lukhanyo Arm at the start of the match to be able to get it going. So Andre Pollard, he will actually finish as the top point scorer in the competition. I believe he will be sitting on around that 60-something mark. But we might make a video talking through all of the kind of top contenders and all of their fields. But then Jordie Barrett, most running meters for the All Blacks, 62. 5 defenders beat him, 1 clean break from the 7 carries. And I believe he had most of those in the first half as well, Jordie Barrett. And then Anton Leonard-Brown, 56 metres carried, 49 for Rieko Ioane, beating 5 defenders out on that left wing side. And other than that, I don't think there were really too many huge numbers in regards for the Springboks or the All Blacks for those running meters. Dwayne Vermeulen, 11 tackles made, 2 turnovers, 1 also. Sebo Nkosi, while he was out on the field before he went off for his HIA, I believe he failed it, unfortunately. But he had 2 turnovers, 1 for himself there. 11 tackles made by Cody Taylor and 11 made by Ardie Savia with the 2 turnovers, 2 turnovers, 1 also. And we have got their Springbok for life, says Clarence, and also was just such a stressful game. Nearly didn't watch the last 5 minutes, but saw Yankees kick the last penalty, and that was the big moment as well. Is the factor of, Elton Yankees was one of those players going into this match. He was getting a lot of stick. It seemed like there wasn't really going to be too much of an opportunity late in this game for him, but he did kick that final one. He did have that one that didn't go 10, but then from there redeemed himself, and he was able to get himself that final 3-pointer that got them the lead and the win in the end. The All Blacks never will win the World Cup with the Muppet Foster, says Driss as well. And also Michael Hooper, man of the match in New Zealand versus South Africa game. And also we have got a donation from JP as well. Springboks, Yaoleka Ding, there's a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire meme of Faf being asked if he would kick the ball away in the last few seconds. I think the coaching staff saw that and subbed him as well. And yeah, it's one of those ones, they chose the right time to put Herschel Yankees and also Elton Yankees out on the field. Francis Steyn, bringing him on a little bit earlier on for Willie the Roux, I think was very strategic and very smart in regards for the Springboks, because he wasn't having the best game, Willie the Roux. He did put the ball down quite a few times, and they also made a lot of early subs in the first half. Malcolm Marks also, and it was Vincent Koch, and also, it was also, sorry, the other name, I need to remember it, Stephen Kitsoff was the man who went out onto the field in the late stages of that first half as well. Up the Southern Hemisphere brothers as well from the Autumn International Sansa versus the other nation, says Mark Morris. And also we have got there, please, Scott Robertson, coached the ABs in January 2022. And also Robertson is a better man, says Christina. And also, game was a thriller, especially when South African fans going nuts while I was watching the streaming from Rugby Guru as well, says Sammy Sosa. Yeah, his fans, they would have been absolutely loving those final minutes. Definitely that kick out on front for Herschel, Elton Yankees, to be able to seal that game as well, because both games only being 2-point contests, they literally could have gone either way for both of them. Like that first game, 78th minute was when the penalty won the All Blacks the game. In this game, it was the 81st minute when the Springboks were able to win it. And something that I said on my live stream as well, Francis Steyn, you got to give him a round of applause, because he said from about 58 meters out, he decided, he was like, you know what, I haven't got the distance, unfortunately, so we're going to kick it for the corner instead. And something like that's very, very respectable from that man is the fact that he was able to admit that it was out of his distance, because or else he could have ended up trying to attempt it and going short of the bar, but he said, nah, this one's just out of my range. So now I am going to be in that situation of let's kick it for the corner. And then they were able to get up to the 22 as well. And I will get that podcast link up very soon. It is just the fact that I only set this live stream up about 3 minutes ago. So bear with me a little bit in that regard as well. But at this stage now, we will also be talking through some other of the stats that were taking place in this matchup, because it was a very exciting one right down to the wire as well. And South Africa had a great backline when they applied some creativity. Well done, Springboks, as well. And we actually saw Faf de Klerk. He was running the ball a little bit as well, which I did quite enjoy seeing, because for Sale Sharks, he does often go along those lines of being able to kind of attack the line and really trying to put the pressure on the defence, something that Nick White, Tate McDermott, two Australian players do very well, is that kind of sniping around the side of the ruck as well. And OMG, South Africa won. They did indeed. They were able to win it with a 70, or actually it's an 81st minute Elton Yankees penalty straight out in front against, I believe it was actually Adi Savia, who did get penalised for that one, but he had a very good game otherwise. Wise tactic from Vans to go to the corner since the range was beyond his reach as well, says Sammy Sosa. It was indeed. From Franz as well. Because I know people before the game as well, at around halftime, people were going like he's going to nail a kick from about 55 metres out. But even if you strike it absolutely perfectly, I don't believe there was much wind to assist that one. And the wind could have even been going into him a little bit. Will you stream Premiership Rugby tonight? London Irish as well, says Kane. And we'll have a look to see what game they are showing in New Zealand, because we only get one of the four that are on at the same time as well. All Blacks need to learn to play with in the gutter as well, says Stuart. And also we have got there, Willie Roy was disappointing during the whole competition. He just didn't get as involved as he should have, give his position and experience as well, says Sebastian. And Rennie's Rennie's plan next time against the ABs will be to massively change between tempos. I reckon that's where South Africa killed New Zealand as well, says Mark. Yeah, they just played at a frantic pace and everyone was saying they're going to slow down. But the Springboks, I think they were very strategic with the timing that they decided to use their men kind of off the bench, and it was able to keep that consistency going throughout that whole match. I am just seeing when the London Irish are going to be playing, but I believe it's not actually the game they show in New Zealand. I think we have got Saracens Leicester, unfortunately, there. Yeah, there is Northampton versus London Irish in only 16 minutes time, but sadly they aren't actually showing it here in New Zealand, so I do apologise in advance there as well. But we have got there Geordie Barrett and Savia, two standouts for the AB, says Stuart, and I would agree with that 100%. Savia in the breakdown, and also I would say both captains, Sia Khaleesi for the Springboks as well. They were just showing that kind of captain's effort out there on the field, and you've got to respect them after the game as well. They both kind of had that chat, and Sia Khaleesi was saying it's been a long time, but we are going to be heading home, and then we are going to be heading to the Northern Hemisphere a little bit later on. And Savia also just kind of said that thing of he appreciates the amount that the Springboks have kind of sacrificed to be able to come to Australia and be able to take part in the Rugby Championship, as it is a relatively long competition as well. Well, we are still world champions. Bad luck as well, says Annie there. And also we have got the ABs have a lot to work on as well. And box pack, massacred ABs pack in the second half. ABs need to sort out their pack as well, says Stuart. Yeah, it just didn't seem like they had that physicality that they needed from the bench. And that was something that a lot of people thought was going to be one of the better moments for the All Blacks, was when they brought the likes of Richie Mo'unga and Damian McKenzie and all those guys out onto the field alongside Ethan Blackadder. I felt even though he came off the bench, he did very well in that match, Ethan Blackadder. But the likes of, I'm trying to think of a forward who probably, Scott Barrett went off very early, so Tui Pelotu got a little bit more of an opportunity than he probably was expecting. But the likes of Bauer, and also it was in the number 18 jersey, Ofa Toingafasi, once again, he didn't seem to get really going early on in this one. We want more of Francis Steyn and less Yankees as well. Says Gannon, and also we have got the for Francis Steyn. I was going to kick the penalty. What a way to win as well, says James Noonan, although it is just that situation as well. If it's right on the edge of the range, if it fell short, I'm sure he would have felt absolutely like gutted in that situation as well. Box have been in the bubble since the Lions. I see we're at Ellis Park in 2022 as well, says Stuart. And also we have got the AB's Type 5 with Paul. Box depth in Type 5 is unmatched as well. And LaRue replaced by Steyn. It was around that half-time mark as well that they did decide to make the sub. So the Springboks had actually made 4 changes going pretty much into that second half. They had the whole front row on with Malcolm Marks. And straight away, the rolling maul looked very strong. As well, yes, I'm correct. Go and check the comments. South Africa won exactly by 2 points as well. Says Piumi. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly there. And got to give props to box forwards. They are monsters as well, says Sublime. Yeah, Lou Diaga for me. Like, he is just a phenomenal player. He doesn't get too much recognition at times, unfortunately, for him. But the work that he does in a line out, and also Etzebeth was phenomenal in this game as well for getting those turnovers in the line outs. And then you've got the likes of even Bongi Umbanambi. I know that man's name doesn't get thrown around too much, but that run where he almost scored between the posts, he was just breaking tackles for fun. So he was going through, and then he probably put it all out on the line there. And then from there, he decided to get subbed off, or he probably didn't decide, but the coach decided to bring out Malcolm Marks as well. Bok bench has great impact tonight, and neighbour, I always say his name wrong. I do apologise for that in advance. Made some good calls to end up with the players on as well. Says 11J said, and also at least the box denied Foster his Grand Slam as well. Says Rowan, yeah, the last time the All Blacks were able to get their Grand Slam, 2017, I believe it is. So now it is going to be a little bit longer till they do get that opportunity once again. And also, who do you reckon we're the better team as well? Says the Shadow. I would say the Springboks for that physicality side of it. The All Blacks, they had a little bit of that running game, but something that people associate with the All Blacks is those running meters. They've had 4,500 or somewhere around there for the whole competition compared to the 2,300 of the Springboks heading into this game. Whereas in this game, the All Blacks had less running meters than the Springboks. They still had their clean breaks and also defenders beaten that they were higher in, but originally it was that situation of, unfortunately, they just weren't quite able to get those running meters that they would have liked. They tried a couple cross kicks. Beauden Barrett, line break ridiculous. Let's combine the Bok pack and the AB's lineup, or the AB's backline for Southern Hemisphere Spears versus Lions as well. So it's like a very good series to watch indeed. And there's a reason why you'll never see Boks beat AB's 57-0 as well, says Des. And also Foster said they learnt lessons from the last week as well, says Riss, although they did have a lot less handling errors this week compared to last week for the All Blacks. But then saying that the Boks changed their game. And that is something that was absolutely awesome to see, because the All Blacks would have been expecting that kicking game to be very prominent. And it was, but it wasn't at the same time. There were quite a few opportunities for them in that backline, the Springboks, and they used them. Lukanu Arm, Damien DeLindo, like I mentioned, 8 touches of the ball for that man compared to kind of the 3 or 4 that he normally gets. And we have Elska there by a donkey means many thanks in English as well, says Rohan. And I believe the other words that I know is Yaulekading, I think is the only other sentence that I do know in South African, but we are, or in Afrikaans, I should say. And also we have got there Hamish. Wouldn't be any different from Rassie as the All Blacks water boy as well, says that Savvy Sosa. And also we have got there AB's never will win a World Cup with the Muppet Foster as well, says Driss. So I feel like it's the wrong time to probably bring out Foster on a stick. We didn't have him for the whole live stream. That other one, he's a little bit crooked. He's got quite a few dints on his face at the moment. The poor fellow, he's been just sitting down on the ground, getting stood on and whatnot. But it's going to be interesting to see how they go in the Northern Hemisphere games. They have got 5 coming up. It's going to be up against Italy, Ireland, Wales, France, and also the USA. And they are only in a couple of weeks' time. Huge credit to Faf de Klerk for being unpredictable and for kicking superbly as well, says Stuart. I agree. He kind of had a lot of people on his shoulders in terms of on social media and everything throughout the week. They were just absolutely destroying him, saying he wouldn't be in that starting lineup. And we have what's got there. If you say Kappa, like Kappa Haka, and the O, it's not, or it's said, and it means of the, and Pungo is black. So it's the dance of the black Panyo. I want you to get better so you can fly as well, says Christina. So is it Kappa Opango? Opango? Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Do let me know, though, at Accept Wallabies. RIP as well, says Alex Axel. And the ref was man of the match, missing penalties, as well, says Tesla. And I think there were a few both ways that did end up getting skipped over for that one. Honestly, Beauden Barrett needs to be dropped. I don't know why they let him play 65 minutes tonight last week, and this week proves Beauden Barrett is more of an individual spark rather than a 10 who controls the team as well. Says that YouTube employees are garbage. I saw was the last word there. But we have got there in the chat as well. Many ABs must be dropped in this team, says Tris. And I believe they will go with a completely different lineup for the game up against the USA. I feel like Mo'unga will be back at 10, and maybe you go with McKenzie at 15 just because of that McKenzie-Mo'unga combo. Normally when they get a little bit of a chance to shine, that is normally when they do the best, and then maybe put Geordie Barrett back up against Wales for that match as well. All you know in Afrikaans is hello, 5 beer, a lekker baie donkey. As well, says Ryan. Yeah, that is pretty much everything that I do know in Afrikaans. We have got there. Why don't they use Nari Laumape Madness? He is actually playing for Stade Francais at the moment in the top 14, so he was not available for the selection, but they have got, I believe they went with Havili at 12 for this one, but they also had maybe a Quintal Pie or someone was another one that someone was mentioning. And also we have got there the whole All Blacks team should be dropped as well, says Luke. And also we have got their Wallabies, one of the best union teams in the world, and aren't even as good as any NRL team as well, says Mark Morrison. Also we have got there in the chat, what did you think? What do you think of the refs' performance, Kiwi lads, in this game? I thought overall they did a pretty decent job. It was a high-pressure situation for a final test match. There were a couple penalties, I think, for both sides that were either kind of misinterpreted or that weren't really picked up on. But overall, I think it was relatively down the middle in that regard. And I believe the penalty count was about 14 to one side, 12 to the other, which is always not too bad to see as well. We have got there in the chat as well. Your comment makes no sense. As I said, and also we have got there in the chat. I like you. I like, yes, you are getting better. Just have to work on the sound as well. You are the best as well, says Christina. Thank you very much. AB's fans, be realistic. You aren't going to win every game. Your team is class, and you were out muscled today. All Blacks fans are too critical, says Joe. And that's the thing, 10 in a row leading into this game. So I think it is that kind of thing of you kind of have a certain expectation for the side, or at least I know social media I'm going to avoid completely because I know that people will be throwing just holy shade at every player pretty much out there. So unfortunately, that's probably not going to be a very fun situation, social media. But from there, we will be rebuilding, hopefully, for those games up against the USA. I'm excited for that game, and also the game up against Wales should be a very good match, and that is only a month away or so. But like Ian Foster has mentioned, even though some people don't really like him, but it is that situation of they will learn things from this game, and they will learn how to improve them in those upcoming matches as well. We have got there in the chat, Foster out Scott Robertson in July 2022 as well, says Dressel, though I believe they locked him until 2023, which is slightly unfortunate in that regard for yourself. But we have got there. You have no idea how very critical some of us AB fans are. And also Springboks are the best team in the world as well, says Declan. And let's go there. And swimming off the rolling ball box should have gotten a few of those as well, says it was a Stuart in the chat. And also in the chat, the chat is going quick at the moment. I appreciate every single one of you guys for being here for this live stream. If you are enjoying, be sure to leave a like. Also, subscribe to the channel if you are new. It is hugely appreciated, the amount of support we had on that live stream. We had a new record amount of people watching at one time as well. Well, Roger, two of us are Sheck, soon to be an All Black, though, says Nuds. It's a tough one. He hasn't been able to play any games for the Bunnings NPC yet for Auckland due to that lockdown kind of affecting it. But I would say within the next couple years, if he has a couple good seasons for the Blues, he will be up there as well. Because the likes of like Caleb Clark or someone, because he chose the Sevens, he hasn't really been given another opportunity for the All Blacks. So I'm wondering whether or not they'll change their squad heading into that Northern Hemisphere flyover. A few of those other players as well. With technology, we notice way more unpinged pens as well. It's kind of a curse as well, says Lax X1. Definitely now that they do have about, I want to say 50, but it might be a bit of an exaggeration, but they've got so many kind of cameras on the field, I should say, as well. So it makes it very difficult. Like even for a player, like I was talking to Norm Maxwell, which is an ex-All Black, and he was saying back in their day, like pretty much there was no TMO or anything along those lines. It was just pretty much if it was a try, the ref would say it as a try. If he thought it was a no try, it was a no try. But now we have so many angles to be able to look at everything. So like you mentioned, it's a blessing and a curse in that regard of being able to see exactly everything that a player does throughout a match. Dave Rennie, better than a Muppet Foster as well, says Driss. And also we have got the Wallabies won 2 times versus the Paul Box team as well, says Driss. And also we have got there in the chat as well from George. I'm not too sure what that says, but I know bro. So welcome into the live stream, George. And also we have got there, show that game. I mean, I know that the All Blacks YouTube channel will be showing the highlights just about now as well. I assume they will still be releasing them, surely. They will be showing these ones as well. But what I will quickly do is I will go like this, and we will go All Blacks YouTube channel, and I see whether or not they have actually uploaded the highlights. I don't believe they have just yet, but I'm sure they won't be too far away from getting those up on the channel as well. We have also got the AB still are the best as well, says Third Eye. And also we've got there from Nelson. I'm still saying that they were denied by unfairness in the first Australian and New Zealand games, says Nelson there. And also we have got there, I don't know how the All Blacks handle the pressure. The New Zealand public is merciless. Chill, guys. ABs are the best. Box second as well, says Stuart there. Yeah, that's very tough for them. Definitely with social media. Like, that's another thing that back in the day when they didn't have the TMO, they also didn't have people constantly like being able to comment all about the games kind of on that social media. So it does make it very tough for you in that regard. But it's also one of those ones the players have kind of, I guess, gotten used to having such a high expectation. It's very tough on these young players coming through the ranks because of the fact that even the guys who aren't playing in this game, like, people will probably say, why weren't you playing in that regard as well? And also we have got there, what a game from Neville Singh. It was indeed a very close match between the two sides. What an ending to a very good Rugby Championship as well. Overall, a lot of good games, a lot of tries being scored in this one also, with the 5 tries, Damien Delende, Makazole Mapimpi scoring in the first half. Then the All Blacks try scorers, Sever Reese, Adi Sawia, and then Brad Weber was able to score it, but none of those tries came in the second half there as well. We have got there in the chat as well. AB Smashbox 57-0 in 2017, and many times as well, says Tristan. Also, we have got there every rugby fan about the ref. Don't deny it as well. And also, Lucanio Ampass, ridiculous. According to Laurie Mains, he isn't test standard, like a respect as well, says Stuart. Tell you what, that one round the back, it's something we haven't seen from Lucanio in a wee while. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of whether or not we have seen a pass like that. But Faf de Klerk also did one in that one as well. But yeah, that pass out the back, the commentators were saying the only way to get that ball out that back line was to do something kind of ridiculous and kind of unorthodox in that situation. And that's exactly what he did. He was able to pass it around the back, and then Damien Delende on the outside was able to score it as well. We have also got there, when is the game against the USA? I believe it is going to be, I'll quickly make sure I've got the right date, but I believe it is the 24th of October at 10 a.m. New Zealand time. I'm just going to make sure that is correct, though, because I wouldn't want to tell you guys false information. 24th of October on Sunday, 10 a.m. is when that game will be taking place. So a few weeks we have got, you can check out the Bay of Plenty versus Wellington and Manawatu versus Otago highlights when they until they upload the ABs versus Box as well. And I did see a couple very close games. Bay of Plenty able to sneak it in the final moments of that game as well. And in the game on Friday night, Waikato beaten by Northland. So we're just seeing a whole heap of upsets in the Bunnings FPC as well, which is pretty awesome in that regard as well. AB's poor team with a poor staff as well, and the ABs will never win the World Cup with this bad coaching staff as well. And we won the cup as well, says Third Eye. They did indeed. The Rugby Championship going in the trophy case of the All Blacks, 25 points they finish on. Also, it is, I want to say 15 points for the Springboks. And then also it is the 18 for the Wallabies, who do finish in third. And we have also got there, can I get a shout out to my channel, please? I make music as well. Says S, I'm not sure, is that SODS? I assume because it's separated. It's similar to that, maybe. Do let me know. We have got there, remember the ABs only beat the Box in 1992 at home. AB struggles at altitude as well, says Ryan. And also we have got there, do you think Fiji will ever win a World Cup, says Caden? That's a good question. I mean, the way that they played up against the All Blacks in one of those first games, I feel like they've got a strong foundation, the Fijians. They get themselves gold medals in the 7s, and a few of those players have been transitioning to the 15s. So I'm hoping to see them play well, and they're up against Wales, USA, or sorry, not USA, I believe it's Uruguay maybe. They will be up against all the USA in that pool, and also Australia. So that's going to be, once again, a repeat of last year's almost in that regard. What's on the scoreboard at the end of the game? It's what's important now. Not how you got it there by the way you were playing. It's about winning and points on the board as well, says Nelson. And also we have got there the last game against Australia / Springboks. I saw the replacement scrum half of Australia need the put in from the Springboks, last minutes. He interfered with play. Springboks lost scrum and got penalty. I believe that would have been Nick White, is it? If I'm not wrong there. And also Springboks are the best, says Declan. And how long is the game left as well? It has finished and the game finished at around, I want to say 40 minutes or so ago. So the highlights won't be too far off going up on the All Blacks YouTube channel, but it was a very closely contested contest between the two sides. A whole heap of changes in the final moments of the game, but this was full time. 31 points to the Springboks and 29 to the All Blacks as well. And also we have got there, I'm a South African music engineer as well. Much love to your channel as well. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciate it there. And Hamish, brother, which games will you be covering tomorrow? I assume the Bunnings NPC are out of the question due to the birthday lunch, as well, says Sebastian. Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be tough because the only game on for tomorrow for the Bunnings NPC is Southland versus Tasman, and that's a 2:05 p.m. kickoff. So I believe, if I'm not wrong, the only other game we'll be able to cover of this weekend will be the Gallagher Premiership one between the Exeter Chiefs and Leicester. Oh, no, it's not Leicester. It's the Sale Sharks. It's actually the other game, and that's going to be a 3 a.m. kickoff on Monday. But then next weekend, when there is no Rugby Championship, we will be back into the Bunnings NPC. Also, more Gallagher Premiership, more United Rugby Championship as well. So if you guys are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button we have got there in the chat as well. Even though I never really liked the Wallabies, I'm glad they're back. We need them as well, says Joshua. And also, ABs need a 10 duplicate of Geordie Barrett and Mwanga Magicians. An expansive game, but not in the gutter as well, says Stuart. And also, Bowden should have been sub as well, says a third eye. As an interesting choice that they decided to keep him out there for as long as they did. Definitely with Mwanga kind of being not in the side for as long as he has been. I believe he was in quarantine for 2.5 weeks or somewhere around there, also in New Zealand. So his last game he played was, I want to say it's the second game of the Rugby Championship, but I could be wrong in that regard. But pretty much with him not being in the side for so long, I think giving him about 20 minutes at the end of the game rather than around that 10 would have been quite smart to just give him that little bit more of an opportunity to find his feet. But yeah, at the end of the day, they will be learning from this, the All Blacks. They might even start him up against the USA. See how he goes there. Barrett Brothers Muppet Show as well, says Tristan. Also, we have got there in the chat as well. Bowden should be a sub, says Third Eye. And also, we have got there in the chat, man, people are burying and partying like man in South Africa right now. Love the AB from a Bok fan. What a game as well. And yeah, I think with the way the result went, the fact that it was this close, like any side of the equation, I should say, surely still relatively enjoyed this game just with how close it came down to the wire. And it was one that was nerve-wracking in the final moments, that is for sure. We've got there. If the AB stop stealing players from the Pacific Islands, then they won't make the top 10 as well, says Rian. I mean, at the end of the day, if the Pacific Island players want to play for New Zealand, I mean, you can't really stop them. You can't be like, oi, you've got to play for Tonga because of the fact that, yes, you will get paid less money, and also you probably won't end up playing as many international fixtures. But even though you are brought up in New Zealand and everything like that, like it seems like a little bit of an interesting situation there, if you do look at it that way. Because, I mean, Tongan Thor, Taniela Tupou, plays for Australia. He had the option playing for New Zealand, and he is Tongan. So he chose the team that he wanted to play for, the Wallabies. He felt he would get more opportunities there and also be able to make a little bit more money for the family as well, which I feel like is what all of the decisions have got to be down to. At the end of the day, they want to be able to support their families, and to be able to do that, they've got to play in those bigger international fixtures. We have got their GOAT channel as well, says GG. Thank you very much, mate. And we have a box, or when have Box won the Freedom Cup last? That is a very good question, although I'm not too sure in that regard as well. We have got the got it about. Big love to everyone, and make sure to check out the Gallagher Premiership stream tomorrow as well. Take care, Sebastian, you too, mate. But yeah, nonetheless, I think we are getting close to the end of this one as well. But yeah, I hope you guys have all enjoyed it. Can I come to lunch? I don't know whether or not you'll be able to get a flight into New Zealand, and your 2 weeks quarantine would be about 2 weeks after the kind of lunch takes place. So virtually, if you do eat lunch tomorrow, you can say that you were here with the lunch as well. We'll go with that. But we have got the who did win the Rugby Championship? To Zach, definitely as well. Or who did win the Rugby Championship? I believe. If that is the question, then it is the All Blacks. They were able to get 25 points in the end. And then Australia in second on 18. And then the Wallabies, the Springboks in third on 15. And this one, Lucy's missing all game except the skipper as well, says Pat. Yeah, Jacobson and also Kiriwani was relatively quiet early on in the game. Thought he didn't do too badly. Jacobson, he's kind of one of those players. He seems to have been relatively consistent, but not consistently like kind of in the face of the Springboks, if that makes sense. He made his tackles that he had to make. I'll have a quick look at the stats to make sure that I do have the right number here. But Luke Jacobson, he made 10 tackles, 1 turnover, 1. But yeah, it's one of those ones. He didn't do anything too flashy in terms of the running game or anything that people were probably looking for a little bit more. Because Artie Savia, 11 tackles, 2 turnovers, 1. So just the extra tackle and just the extra turnover for the captain compared to Jacobson in this game as well. We have got there in the chat. Wallabies need Turbo Tom as well, says Nuts. And also we have got there in the chat, we won the cup at the Boxer, celebrating that they beat us as well, says at Third Eye. And I mean, at the end of the day, they've been able to build up some momentum, those are Springboks, and they will be trying to carry that over right through the Northern Hemisphere tour as well. And also we have got there, overrated probably would have made his mark against the Springboks as well, says Alex Axel. And I assume because it is overrated in brackets, or sorry, in hyphens. Is that the hyphen? No, it's not a hyphen. In quotation marks, I guess it is, that word. But yeah, I was thinking that probably wouldn't be too far off after coming back from his hamstring strain. So I guess the big question now moving forward for them is, do they stick with Savi at 7? He played very well in that game. So who is your 6 and who is your 8 in that loose forward trio? We will have to wait and see what they decide to do in the future. Also, thanks for your time. Take you guys as well from 11JC. And also we have got there in the chat as well. Not the result I was hoping for, but congrats for the Box. Super proud of it, lads, as well, for bringing the trophy back home, says Senza. And yeah, it was a very close game, right down to the wire. And yeah, at the end of the day, about 3 lead changes in the last 10 minutes. I believe, if I'm not wrong, missing that mongrel. Akira disappointed me there as well, says Lax Axel. Yeah, I thought he would be a little bit more physical in this matchup. He was still able to get himself, he was able to get the turnover one. Only made the 6 tackles, not too many running meters either. Although there was a big moment where he did receive a 4 pass from Geordie Barrett, where it looked like he was going to be able to go down the wing as well. We have got the Kiriwani just played his last test against the Box as well, says Stephen. And also we've got the I'm sick of the AB stealing Australian players. Tell you what, you're sounding more and more like BKR Sport every day, Luke. Which I guess depends if you consider that a good thing or a bad thing. Willie LaRue must be dropped. Absolute shocker. As well, says Jordan. Also, Akita seems to shy away against the big boys, says it, Pat. And also we have got, can you read my message? Says that Brandon. I will try my best to find it a little bit earlier on. I've got another one which was, can you read my message? I'll keep on scrolling. Hey, what was a little while ago? Can you read my YouTube channel? Says Brandon. Have you, or can you see my YouTube channel? What time is All Blacks as well? And I assume that is in terms of what time the All Blacks game against USA is, maybe, if I'm not wrong, which is 10 a.m. on the Sunday. Already counting down the days for the end of the year tour as well. Says Senza. Yeah, unfortunately, everything is going to be all happening at the same time, which does mean we're going to be flat out. The sleepless nights will be well and truly running through. And also half the Australian team is born in New Zealand as well, says Third Eye. And also can't wait for the next Box versus AB's test. And also many AB's players played their last match with the ABs as well, says Tris. And also Penrith, for the win tomorrow. Let's go. And the chat says, Pap, and nonetheless, that's going to be a good game as well for the NRL tomorrow night. 9:50, I believe that game is going to be taking place. Penrith Panthers versus the South Sydney Rabbitohs should be a great game. As well, because the top bloke, as well, says Luke, has he unbanned you yet? Do let me know, because I know that a little while ago he did end up banning you from his channel. But Suwala has Babulla Hamish as well. Do you know the statistics for the turnovers as well? I believe in this one, turnovers one, I will have a quick look here. So the South Africans, we will just add them up. 2, 4, 6, 8. They had 8 turnovers one compared to the 5 of the All Blacks in this game. As well, Mighty World Champions as well, says ruthlessly relentless as well, Evolutionaire as well. And also we got there your Driven Seeds Nuts, and also De Villiers is the last coach to win the Freedom Cup. They disparaged him even though he achieved so much as well. And it was a great game after all, more running than kicking, says Ryan. Yeah, they did decide to go for that running game as well, the Springboks. And I feel like they found a happy medium in this game. They still had the kicking game, but they also still had that running rugby, a little flick out the back as well, which is going to be pretty awesome to see whether or not they use that in that game up against England. I feel like that's the biggest match for the Springboks heading forward into these Northern Hemisphere games. But yeah, we've got plenty going on in the middle of the night. We have got Wayne said hi as well. Welcome in to the live stream, mate. And didn't All Blacks win the cup already? They did indeed. So they have got themselves the Rugby Championship with 25 points, followed by the the Australians, who are sitting on 18, and then the Springboks sitting on 15 as well. Retallica Shadow was his former self as well. And we have got there. You should tell him to unblock me as well. You do not want to hear what he says about you off live stream, mate. Yeah, let's go there as well. The Springboks only live to beat the ABs. That's it as well, says Karen. And also Anton's injuries showing in his games, or in his game these days as well, says Pan. And also we have got the ABs have not replaced Dane Cole. Some moan about him being rough, but underrate his influence as well. No one yet is as skilled / determined. And something that Dane Cole has that's very good for the All Blacks, and something that they struggle with a little bit in this game, is that line-out throw. And yes, the Springboks are world-class at contesting it, but it still seemed like the line-out wasn't quite going the way that they wanted it to. Cody Taylor, he did all right at the start of the match, but then Asafa Moore and also Samisoni Takiaho, unfortunately, both have the same trait of not the best line-out accuracy, and it does cost them a little bit, but I wouldn't say that that was the only thing that kind of changed the shape of this game. It was still very close going down the wire. Dane Cole, though, sure, he will be back relatively soon, if I'm not wrong. ABs are still rebuilding their squad and fielding so many new players as well. And Yankees had his best test match as well, says Lax Axel. And I assume that is Elton Yankees I feel bad for that man because it still seems to be people are 50-50 split with him. Some people say that he's a great player. He had a phenomenal game up against Argentina, but straight away everyone was like, get rid of him, get Pollard back in there. So now that he had this game, when that kickoff didn't go 10, I felt really bad for the man because I was like, people are going to destroy him, unfortunately, because like it could have been the match winner for the All Blacks at that stage. But because he got that final penalty, I feel like people will enjoy seeing him in that number 10 a little bit more as well. But Franstein did very well, and Floyd has said we need a third game. I feel like that would be absolutely awesome to be able to see one. But yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait. I think the next time we get to see the All Blacks play the Springboks will be next year for the Rugby Championship, which means we've got another kind of around 10 or 11 months till we get to see it, which does suck a little bit because of the fact that these games were so entertaining, so close throughout them as well. And it is 1-1 in that series, I guess you could say. And can't wait for Peter Siftotoy to come back. Same for Colby, and fully behind Yankees as well. And we have it there. I don't watch his stream, so I'm not sure why he would still be mentioning my name as well, says Luke. And also we've got the ABs. I read that one. And also Springboks number 6 and number 7, deadly combo. And I believe it would have been Khaleesi and Quagga Smith. And I know that he was another player, Smith, when he was thrown in at number 7 instead of Franco Mostert. I think it was a bold decision because of the fact he's dangerous. Quagga Smith, he just runs hard at the line. Also breakdowns. He is what you would call, I guess, in a way, would you say, in the nicest way possible, he is a nuisance in the breakdown, I guess you could say. He's just able to get in there. He's similar in regards a little bit to a David Pocock, how everyone knows how good he is in the breakdown, and that's why they get annoyed with him. Because Quagga Smith, he'll just go like that all day into the breakdown. And him and Khaleesi comboed, like kind of counter-rucking up against the All Blacks was very awesome indeed. Francis Stein, it's bloody unfair. Just because, we have a big boot. Geordie, they bring in the OG as well, says Lax Saxo. And also we have got the, I can't understand why people bemoan a physical gutter fight. This is a real test rugby as well. Yeah, this match, like my prediction before the game, I said that it was going to be split by 5. And I did see a lot of predictions of like All Blacks by 30, South Africa by 30 as well. I think I saw quite a few times as well. But at the end of the day, it was an extremely close contest. And I think it's the best for kind of the rugby because I guess some people want to see a runaway game, but also we just want to see a tightly contested game. And this was almost, I want to say, a throwback test match, similar to the first one as well, of just both sides playing their own styles of rugby, clashing the two best teams at the moment in the Southern Hemisphere for the rankings. And they just kept on fighting as well. AB's only play for pride of the jersey as well, says Third Eye. And also we have got their rank this game out of 10, says Floyd. Right, out of 10. Oh, okay. So 10 being 10 out of 10. I want to say, are we saying in terms of entertainment or performance-wise? Floyd, do let me know because I feel like that changes it drastically in terms of that one. But do let me know. And we have got there. Let's be honest. Look at the territory and position stats. The AB said no business winning this match as well. Says Stuart. Yeah, they would have ended up being very lucky because the position, it was in the favour, 52%, I believe, in the end for the Springboks. But in that second half, it was up to around 60-something% for a lot of that one. And they were trapped inside of their 22 and they couldn't really work out how to get out of there. And we have got their front stain as the next John Olomu. He is going to be good if they reinstate him as well, says Karen. And also we have got there in the chat as well, Dion Linde was everywhere. And it was great to see him get so many touches of the ball as well because of the fact that he's such a good player, Damian Diolinde. And I've been saying it through the whole tour as well. I want to see him, Lucanio Makazole Mapimpi. I want to see these guys get more of the ball because when they do, we see on the try scorers list here, Damian Diolinde scoring in that 5th minute, Lucanio linking up with him. It's just an absolutely awesome kind of performance from him. 8 touches in this game compared to around best of about 4 in the other matches of the Rugby Championship so far as well. Jacobus has said, All Blacks, the box stopped you from winning 11 games straight, stop you from taking the Grand Slam, stop you from being named as the best team in the world. Box show why they are the world champions as well, says Jacobus. And I believe, if I'm not wrong, you are right in a lot of those regards. But I think because this was a home game for the Springboks, maybe the All Blacks will still keep that number 1 rank for just a little bit longer. But defending world champs South Africa, they have got England, they have got Wales, and they have got Scotland in the Northern Hemisphere. Going to be absolutely awesome to see it as well as a New Zealand versus South Africa test match. I would say that this one, I want to say it was about an 8 or a 9 out of 10 because of the fact, like any game that goes right down to the wire, like the commentators here in New Zealand, they were absolutely just buzzing near the end of that game because it just kept on going back and forth. There was the penalty to the Springboks, they took the lead. It was the penalty to the All Blacks, they took the lead Then from there, the drop kick from Elton Yankees from about 40 metres out when they had the advantage. They take the lead. Then the All Blacks get a penalty about a minute later. They take the lead. And then that final moment when Frans Steyn from 58 metres out said, it's just out of my range. Kick it for the corner and let's see if we can build something here. And then they got the penalty. And then they managed to win the game as well. My best test match a little bit earlier on as well. I'm kind of sitting quite far back in the seat at the moment. Quite comfy at the moment here at 2:15 a.m. in New Zealand. My best test match was the winning kick by Pat Lambie. But today was another level as well. Really missed Lambie as well as Sesawala, and also Mwanga's best contribution, making marks at Etzebeth head clash. Tell you what, the fact that they both cut each other open just shows that they have got some brute force. And I mean, we knew that already, but yeah, the fact that Etzebeth was actually off the field for the final moments of this game as well, due to the blood bin, was a big moment there as well. And how can you not love teams smashing one another and scoring beautiful tries as well? Says Sublime, exactly right, mate. And one that goes this close as well is just absolutely awesome. And we have a look at there. Elton Yankees was amazing. What a player as well, says Adi. And I do still see, like, I respect him as a player big time, Elton Yankees, because his game up against Argentina in the earlier stages of the Rugby Championship, I thought earned him probably a start in one of these games in Australia. But he keeps on getting put on the bench and only getting a little bit of a moment. And I'm hoping with that win that they were able to get with his drop kick at the final stages of the game. Maybe they decide to give him just a little bit more time because he also did a bit of a kicking game. And him and Yankees also link up quite nicely together, the two Yankees in that regard. And the Springboks should have played like this for the whole tournament. They probably would have won it as well, says Luke. And also we have out there a shame, no New Zealand versus England this year. It is indeed. I believe the next time we get to play them might be next year in a tour. So we might get 3 matches, which would be pretty awesome. Those are key individual players that are able to tap into their IQ and making the turnover to force penalty and build momentum to apply pressure. Very crucial but also simple, says at the snooze. And also we have got there in the chat, Lucanio's back pass. It was phenomenal from that man. And what I will do quickly while you guys are still all here, I will check to see whether or not the All Blacks have uploaded the highlights of this game 12 minutes ago. So what I can do for you lovely ladies and gentlemen in the chat, for anyone who does want a chance of being able to watch this game, it won't be in full, but it will be in a shortened version. And that is the link to the All Blacks YouTube channel where you will get to see the highlights of this game. You crumble to us as well. Says Edine and Eben and Marks as well, says Walla. And also we have got there in the chat as well. ABs of old would have taken a 22 line out over that 77-metre penalty difference. ABs of old had a formidable set piece as well, says Alex Axel. And who is the best Barrett, says Caden. In this match, I've got to say Geordie Barrett. Like, he did very well. Bonin Barrett, he had a little bit of a rougher performance at times, but also still showed that class when he was able to break the line and get Severis that cross-kick field try. And also, I believe he was part of that move that led to Artie Savi, I want to say, scoring, but I believe it was Rieko Ioane first in that regard. And then Scott Barrett injured early on in this game. So it will depend, because if he is out for a little while, it could mean that maybe it opens up the opportunity of a Tom Robertson possibly deciding to play lock. Also, you've got, I'm trying to think of who else they have got as their locks. They've got Tupavai, who will get a little bit more of an opportunity maybe. But other than that, I can't really think of too many of the other guys. Rian has said midfield must be sorted out. Missing a hand or missing a hard runner like Ma'anonu box look like, I'm not too sure what that last word is, so I don't know whether or not I am allowed to read it out. But yeah, in this game, they did go with Havili and Leonard Brown, and it seemed to be, I guess you could say, the safer option, but it just didn't really get that go forward. Leonard Brown also didn't have the best game overall, but I think that is just because he is only recently returned from the injury as well. And we have also got there Geordie Barrett, best 15 in Test rugby by a country mile. How could they not pick him at 15, says Stuart as well? I think they did stick with McKenzie for a little while, but the last about 4 times they have gone with Barrett. So maybe, I guess they rest him, because I'm just going to look at the order again. I think strategically you want to make sure you're keeping him fresh for those upcoming games. So it is going to be USA versus New Zealand. So I would say more than likely they'll go McKenzie at 15 for that game. It's just my little prediction. But we actually do a prediction series on the channel for you guys who do want to see, who do want to see a little bit of a pre-match prediction. I believe I got a total of, I want to say 37 points out of 50 for the rankings of this one. I was able to almost get the 4-pack right, and also quite a few of the backline as well. But looking through this one, so it is going to be USA, Wales the week after, Italy the week after, Ireland, and then France. So I would say more than likely USA, they go McKenzie. Then Wales, you probably go Barrett. Italy, you probably go maybe McKenzie again, and then back to Geordie Barrett for Ireland and France for the closing out. Respect for staying up so late. You must love Test rugby as much as I do, says Stuart. I do indeed, mate. We have done all sorts of rugby live streams throughout the night. I believe, if I'm not wrong, we are coming up on about a year and 3 months since we started that channel, or this channel, I should say. And in that time, we have covered a total of around 130 live rugby matches in just a short amount of time. So we're going at about 2 a week, and half of it was when it wasn't rugby season. We have been doing the top 14 Gallagher Premiership. Also, URC we've been covering a little bit of as well, and all the other international fixtures, Curry Cup, you name it, we are doing it on this channel. The USA game is pretty much a trial match for breeding the new blood as well. So Semi says, yeah, hopefully they do give a few of those other guys an opportunity. And who knows, maybe when they head over there, they bring in a Leicester Nuku or someone along those lines. They could try and add a new combo into the mix and try and give them a little bit more of an opportunity. Also, I'd love to see Billy Harmon get a chance for the All Blacks, but I don't know whether or not he kind of has that dynamic enough game. He makes a lot of tackles and gets a lot of turnovers, but it's whether or not he's got that running game as well to be able to take the spot of a Papali or a Savia, and I don't think he does at this stage, unfortunately. But we've got a few other players who perhaps want to make their way into the rankings for those ones back. Richie Kono, oldies out playing the kids as well, says Lex Axel, and you can't beat us at a World Cup as well, says Third Eye, and also good night, mate, says Luke, we will see you later on. The drop goal was an absolute disgrace as well, says Karen as well. In that situation, was that for Elton Yankees? Karen, or do let me know. I believe it was the case if they had that penalty. If we are talking about that one, maybe, but I might wait and see whether or not it is the case there. And Quaid Staines, Franz Stain, and Whitelock too as well, says it lacks Axel there. But anyone who does want to see a game of, game of rugby that we just witnessed for this game between the All Blacks and the Springboks as well, I will put the link in the chat once again. That is the link that will take you straight to the All Blacks YouTube channel, where you can see a 6-minute highlights package of this game. You'll see that cutout or flick that Lukanyo arm did. That was absolutely beautiful in that situation. Northerners will best new box as well, and Springboks will do better still, you will see as well, says Andrew. And I feel like with a few of those returns, like we have mentioned, Chisel and Colby, not too far off. Unfortunately, he was going to be returning maybe for this game, but ended up with that little bit of a tear, a little bit of a fire up of that injury that he did have. But you've got him. Peter Steph-Totoy is another player that people have been mentioning. Another player I want to see back. Unfortunately, though, it did be the shoulder injury after the last game. Marco van Staden, he looked phenomenal off the bench for the Springboks. Just an absolute unit of an individual, just throwing himself at the line. And it's what you want to see from those big forwards, because they have gone back to the 5-3 split. The Springboks, they had the bomb squad for quite a wee while, the 6-2, but now they've gone back to 5-3. And I want to say maybe this will be what they stick with for a little bit longer. It seems to be working, having Franz Stain and also a spare fly half as an option later on in the match as well, perhaps alongside your scrum half. But I did actually do a video on Rugby Challenge, and I played as the Springboks, and I actually gave a few of the players an opportunity who hadn't had too much of a chance in this kind of series for the Rugby Championship. I am just going to see in that regard, because I know that people probably didn't like that video too much because of the fact that I ended up taking out de Klerk, Pollard, and also Willie LaRue, and instead I replaced them with, I had Reinach, Apalele Fassi, and also it was, I believe the other player that I added in there was actually Mornay Stain I added for that regard. So I'm not sure how much people would have been enjoying that one as well, but I was able to get the win as the Springboks in that matchup as well. Fakatava, the future as well, says Lex Axel. He is another player who will be exciting to watch in the future if he does decide to play for the All Blacks or if he goes for Tonga. But that is the link to the gaming video that I did do where I played as the Springboks. It sucks I couldn't watch the game live to know what weakness there are, but the stats on the table say we are on a good build as well, says the Snooze. And also we have got the better the box than anyone else to beat us as well, says Third Eye. And I mean, it's just one of those games as well. I mentioned it for the Wallabies Argentina. The Wallabies for that match, they were probably expected to win it quite comfortably, but they would have probably been quite happy with the fact that they were able to get into that situation of having a decent contest with the physical forwards of Argentina. And the same thing for the All Blacks and the Springboks. Both can agree that both sides play that physical rugby, and also the All Blacks playing that running rugby game is something that maybe the Springboks, they won't see it too often in the Northern Hemisphere games up against the likes of Wales and England, but could be a crucial little tool that they can learn from for this match. You do not drop goal from that position if you are attacking. Your chances of scoring from that position is much better. The replacement number 10 is just a replacement as well, says Karen. Then also we have got a little bit earlier on, Mapimpi and Chisel and Colby, high key, the best wingers unless Rico Ioane is on the wing, and when Sever Reece versus Australia and until Tony Ferguson Tony Ferguson plays for the Wallabies. Are we talking about the same Tony Ferguson from the UFC? Maybe, if I'm not wrong there. But yeah, it'd be interesting out on the wing, actually, now that I think about it. So happy for South Africa Rugby. More exciting for everyone. This is not the strongest ABs team. A few big names are still in New Zealand quarantine. Go, go, go. The ABs from Otago as well. And in Chicago, USA, says it, Luke. So welcome into the live stream, mate. And yeah, hopefully you do enjoy this matchup because it was just awesome. Seeing it go down to the wire, we didn't really expect anything else from these two sides other than a very close physical matchup. And that is exactly what we have got. But if you haven't seen the highlights already, Luke, do let me know, because I have actually got a link to the YouTube channel of the All Blacks if you do want to see those highlights, since we are almost at the end of this live stream. There we go. We will put that in the chat for you guys as well. And we have got there in the chat which teams were lenient with us, like Wallabies as well, says Lax Axel. Yeah, there are going to be a lot of players and also a lot of supporters, I should say, more than likely, that it's going to be very tough on the All Blacks. But at the end of the day, the best way to get behind your side is to just keep on supporting them. You know, it's one of those tough ones that, unfortunately for the Springboks, because Sia Khaleesi actually said after the match, he said he's appreciative of all of those Springbok fans who didn't give up on them and kept on supporting them, because they've had it very tough on social media over the last kind of wee while because of those 3 in a row losses. But now they've been able to get that win, and I bet you there will be a lot of people who are absolutely criticizing the Springboks who will now be like, oh, I was supporting you the whole time throughout those matches, even though their comments are still probably on social media of them saying that the Springboks are absolutely terrible and all of those things. Like, at the end of the day, they need your support. The All Blacks is worthy as well, says Karen there as well in the chat. But yeah, at the end of the day, as long as everyone's supporting their rugby and everyone's loving the rugby that we are seeing, and there's plenty more coming in the future as well. And unless, I think that is almost going to be the end of this live stream. We have almost been going for a full hour talking about this game. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying. If you're new, be sure to leave a like. Also subscribe to the channel, as we are only sitting just a little bit away from 6,900 subscribers, which is absolutely incredible. Only the 13 away at this stage. But yeah, if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you all for another live stream tomorrow, about the same time, 3 a.m. And it is going to be the Gallagher Premiership. Sail Sharks taking on the